Good.
I'm digging the fucking background. That's awesome.
I got a lot going on.
Dude, I love that setup. The purple, the white. Yeah, you got it going on.
Yep. Yep. You know, we got to be all matching with the purple.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. That trip last week was amazing. I got to implementing a lot of stuff,
Mm.
got a new outlook on life. Grateful for the many relationships, including this one, 2 hours sitting by the fire talking about life and business and God, everything. So yeah, it's been
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, that was one of my favorite takeaways was our conversation by the fire. You're just so refreshing to speak to someone who at your age has already accomplished so much and has such amazing aspirations. I love it. You just you filled my heart for sure.
Thank you. And it was so crazy because it was cold as shit. We were like, it was like 40 degrees, and I was cold up until I started talking to you. And then I was just like, everything's good. I was
Uh,
just invested. So it was great.
awesome. What was your biggest takeaway from the conference? Like, what are you already putting in?
Profitability,
Mhm.
core values and leadership development. Everything starts with you as a leader. So making sure all my T's and I's are crossed and dotted, and making sure that whatever expectation I want to hold for the people around me, I hold for myself and actually go above that. So I think those are the two biggest ones: profitability, knowing your numbers, and then leadership development.
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, Angela did a fantastic job of delivering that. And it's interesting because back in the day as a nonprofit, we ran that way. And then we got away from it as a for profit because I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing and I trusted the experts. And then I realized, well, you're in the spot because you went away from what you were doing, which was the right thing to do, whether you're a for profit or not for profit. It's just basic, like don't spend more than you make. Oh my gosh.
Mhm. Right?
Wow.
I don't think it's just us. I think there's a lot of people out there that and they have that same mindset. Or, I'll just make more money. It's okay, live life and be
Yeah.
reckless. But, that just leads down another rabbit hole. So,
Yeah. Well, and for you to have that invaluable knowledge at your age and at your place in your business, that's pretty phenomenal.
hmm I think this was the biggest takeaway actually. The other ones will second this. It was how humbling and grateful I became when every person I talked to said, if only I had this knowledge at 20 years old and when I was starting,
Yeah.
I would be the Andy Frisella or Ed Milet or Bill Gates, whatever it is. And it really made me so grateful to just be in that room and absorb all of the energy and knowledge and wisdom from everyone around me. I think that was the greatest takeaway because when I first got there, and I know me and you talked about it, I had that imposter syndrome. Like, where do I belong in this great group of people? Right.
Mm.
And when you start talking to everyone there was willing to serve and help me just as much as I'd be willing to help them. So that was the greatest takeaway, was just having that community of people around you that want to see you win, right? And they'll do anything to help you. So that was great. I've
Mm.
never experienced that before.
Ah, I love that. And I think the reason you fit in so good in that group, you're just an old soul. Like you're in a young body, but you are an old soul, and so it makes it very easy to just chat with you like you're one of us at our age. It was amazing, and I love that about you. And I love that you didn't have any type of um, ego about it. You're like, I'm here to learn. And so let me take it all in. The more you want to tell me, the more I'm going to learn and apply. And I don't know better than this. And I love that about you.
So I'll tell you where that comes from. It really comes
Mm.
from going through a lot in life, but also you gain perspective. So you have to kind of hold yourself accountable to a lot of the things you do in life. So, for instance, I used to run track and cross country, right?
Mm.
And I had the talent, but I had no hard work, right? I could take 2 weeks off of practice, come back, and I would smoke everyone in a competition, get first, right? Everyone be
Yeah.
like, "How would you do that?" And I'm like, I just have that competitive drive to always want to compete.
And you're a
But
natural athlete, like probably
right,
whatever you do, you
exactly.
probably are really good at. Yeah.
Yeah, like you could throw me in a race and I'll probably come top 10, but
Yeah.
if only I had worked hard, that I would have gotten that. And I've realized that my senior year of high school,
Mm.
and then I had never been to high school for a full week. I missed an entire year of high school based off how absent my absence, whatever.
Same.
Yeah, it was bad. It was
Yeah.
bad. And it wasn't until my senior year I went to school 2 weeks in a row just because I wanted to go to track practice because I wanted to beat the record. And COVID hit, right? And that opportunity got snatched from me just like that, blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And it showed me and it opens your eyes and you gain that perspective that if only you would have had that hard work 5-6 years ago, where could you have been, right? So now it's just, I don't take anything for granted. I had the opportunity to go to Primland and be around these great people. You need to learn to shut up, and take everything in, because compared to what I know, compared to you or any of these other great leaders, it's nothing. It's minuscule, and if you don't have that accountability to tell yourself to shut up and take everything in, I don't think you'll really get too far in life, or you'll never reach your maximum potential, which is, you can never really hit it, but you'll never get to that glory stage of life because, you don't know when to stop. So.
Ah, love that. So wise. So let's talk about, with COVID and you basically losing your senior year,
Mhm.
how do you end up within 2 short years being a business owner?
So that's a very good question. So it really just, I think I just got off a call tonight and I just thank everything to God. So
Yeah.
after that happened, COVID happened. I kind of just fell in that little shell, everything was locked down. And I just stayed to myself. And it wasn't until I went to college, and I think that was August, September.
Mhm.
I got out of my hometown, which is poverty stricken. It's like, it's the cheapest place to live in Ohio.
Mm.
Almost everyone, it's welfare. It's, everyone's making under 30, 40,000 a year. I got out of there and I saw life outside of that, and I was like, I never want to go back. I want to do something more.
Mm.
Um,
What
and
college did you go to? Was it Ohio State or?
it was Mount Union,
Okay.
private college, just right outside of Youngstown in Alliance. But so I went there. I was going for computer engineering. So how I ended up a landscaper, who knows? But I was going for computer engineering, and then I met my now fiance, but I met my girlfriend. And I've told this story before. You get that fire under your ass, like
Yeah.
where you meet someone and it was just an instant click. Like I knew she was the one, and once you have that, you realize you have an obligation to do more in life. You need to be more, because now I have a fiance or a girlfriend or a future family I need to think about, right? So
Mm.
all of that time I waste drinking or partying, or if you're smoking, whatever you're doing, is taking away from the future life that I should be providing her and my future family. And even my family now, my mom is a single mother of 5 boys,
Wow.
um,
Whew.
I saw her bust her ass, working 80 hours a week. We would go to daycare at 5 a.m. and she'd pick us up at 6 a.m., go home, go to sleep, do it again. And she did that for years. So once you see that hard work, it's like, okay, I know I can do that. I've seen it. And then I just ended up being blessed with the opportunity to meet a business partner. He fronted me nearly $6,000. I paid him off within 3 months. And then as part of our arrangement, I was like, all right, look, I was like, if you're going to take this chance with me, I'll double your investment within a year. And I did that too, so
During
I
COVID, during all that, that's amazing.
with no
Yeah.
business experience. I
Yeah.
had no business experience.
Yeah.
Nothing had ever been handed to me. I had to go out and I had to work for it. I just had that opportunity to have someone invest in me and see in me and what I could do with, some hard work and whatnot. So yeah, that's how I started.
That's amazing. And you've kept it going and you've grown it. And do you have employees yet?
Yeah. So I now have 3 employees.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it wasn't until Arate that I really found the servant leadership part of it, right?
Mm.
Because everyone wants to get in business. and you want the Lambo, you know, you want to be the rich person who has, yeah, I had this attitude. I was like, oh, I make my own schedule when I first got in business.
Yeah.
You know, I could do what I want. And you learn real quick, you are there to serve your clients and the people around you, and your employees when you get them. So if you really want to build something meaningful, you have to be a servant, you know, you have to give more than you take. And it wasn't until Arte that really dawned on me, and I started, you know, implementing the core values. I started dedicating more time and energy towards reading leadership books and practicing the things that I learned. You know, it's not just reading books or watching videos. You need to go practice the things, because if you don't, they're worthless. You know, they're not. You can't do anything with a book. You know, you have to go out there, get the experience, because that's how you learn and grow. You know, so Arte definitely changed that perspective for me.
Yeah. I mean, and there's such great mentors, Andy and Ed. Like, you know, you look at Andy and you think, oh, this guy's got a chip on his shoulder. You know, you have a certain feeling. But then when you're in like our RTA meetings, it's like he just wants to help. He's like you and I. Like his overarching goal is to change the world for the better and to help. And you wouldn't know that if you only knew, you know, pieces of his podcast and things like that. Ed as well. You know, Ed's more outspoken about, you know, obviously he wants to help. Like all the people he has on his shows are all about self-help and other things, but it's really cool for us to be able to learn from them and all their knowledge and their business growth, and be able to sort of replicate that. And I love that you're putting all that into play as a very young entrepreneur and seeing it pay off.
Mm-hmm. It's important. It's that same, it leads back to what I said earlier. When you realize that you wasted time in your life and you hold yourself accountable, right? You got to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
You really realize, okay, that was stupid, right? Don't make that same mistake again, you know? So any opportunity I get, I try to run full steam with it, you know? And, you know, there's ups and downs and mistakes you'll make, but as long as you stay on track, you know, and you want that end result, you'll get it, you know? And I think Andy and Ed are great. And Andy's a perfect example, because anyone who doesn't know him be like, who's this guy cussing and swearing and telling me I'm a piece of shit? And you get in on these Arte calls, and he'll sit there and he'll cry and tell you about his emotions and what impacts him. And it's always something around people. You know, he always speaks on helping people around him and helping the community and seeing a change. And, you know, I think that's what keeps people like the great ones in game so long, you know, who really built that legacy and impact, is they're servant leaders. You have to want it, but it's not just faking it. You know, you can't fake being, you know, someone who wants someone to succeed. You actually have to believe that in your heart. You know, you put off that energy, that vibration into the universe, and people sense that, right? So I think if you try to fake being somebody you're not, you won't get far. You know, you have to be true to yourself.
Yeah, there was a guy I watched. He was talking about different, and he was a scientist, and he talks about different vibrational levels. And, you know, he's like, what do you think is the highest vibrational level? And, you know, of course, everybody raises their hand, and love's your highest vibration. He said, actually, and it's been measured on different, you know, meters and spectrums, above love is authenticity. And so when you're truly authentic, you're vibrating at such a high level. You're right. People perceive it. They feel it. They want to follow you. They want to be with you because they see that you're being you. No pretenses, no hypocrisy. You're just legit and genuine. And I think what you just said completely proves that. And it completely explains, you know, you and why you're doing so well at your age.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm not doing as well as I want to be, but you know,
well, of course.
People say, "Oh, you're doing good. It's so good." Honestly, I feel like I've barely even started. You know, I've signed up for a lifelong of growth and, you know, accountability and discipline. So, you know, I'm only 20 years old. Like I got a long way to go before, you know, my impact is really made, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're the epitome of an entrepreneur. I mean, at this point, I can't see you like going to work for anybody else. Like once you like work for yourself, you're like, it's real difficult to like go work for someone else unless they're so completely aligned and you really like make a great like partnership. It's difficult to put that genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, you know, and that I agree and then I disagree, because then if you love the end result enough, I feel like you'll do the things you hate to get what you love. So like Andy, Andy worked 2, 3 jobs to keep open his vitamin shop. It's doing whatever it takes. I definitely do not want to work for anybody, but if I had to choose between paying my employees and making sure they were fed, or going to work for someone else, I'm choosing, or working for somebody else or not working for somebody else, I would choose working for someone else to make sure they're fed, and make sure my family's fed, whatever it is, because that's what has to be done. So, but you definitely, I will do everything in my power not to do that. I definitely want to stay in business for myself.
But see, you're already smarter than me. And this is when I had a conversation with Ed. He's like, Angie, you need a partner. And I'm like, no, I don't want it, and he's like, dude, like, put it aside your pride and ego. And if you love your place, exactly like you said, you should really be open to there being a person out there that's going to help you forward your purpose and not, take everything from you, which is like my fear growing up. I don't know the way I did. I'm always worried about that. So you're, and once again, just proving you're wise beyond your years.
Yeah, trust is hard to build. It
Yeah.
takes a long time, and still people will change on you in a heartbeat, mainly for money, but
Yeah.
whatever it is, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
so
Well, and
it's
I think, you just got to trust your intuition and your gut. And I think, we're both really good at that. And don't go into something, without having all the information. And then, like you said, trust, and it'll be the right thing regardless.
faith. Yep, that's all it comes down to.
Yeah. So you and I had an extensive conversation, and I love talking about this with you, about like where we're at with society, and in particular, different generations of accountability, and like what we're faced with in the world is a million reasons and excuses of why you don't have to be accountable for your weight loss, for your fitness level, for your financial status, for your lot in life. Like, this is really big for us, but I really love hearing it from you, because I feel like your generation has been groomed almost against that. So it's nice that you have that viewpoint. And tell me, how did you end up with that thought process?
Yeah, I didn't always have it. It was so weird. Like I said, I've always had the talent. I've seen the hard work. But I never put two and two together. I never had discipline. And I never held myself accountable. I did what I wanted. I went with the flow. Um, and really, I think it was just I went to an event 2018. I was 15, 16, whatever. And Andy was there, but I got exposed. I saw the McLarens, I saw the Lambos, I saw the people who could do whatever they wanted to do. And I sat on that information until I saw it personally when I dropped out and I started the business. I saw like I could go outside and there's Ferraris driving down the street, or Lambos, or you get to meet these business owners and they're doing this and that, and they have the nice and big house. I never saw that. So I think what it is, like a lot of times, is people don't see the success and then they don't believe they can do it, right? You need to know someone who's successful, which is, I think getting into inner cities and exposing kids to more than just gang banging and drugs and, money, sex, whatever it is, expose them to success, expose them to hard work. And I think that's what they'll become. I think everyone's influenced by their environment, their situations. And it's not until I saw the success that I believed I could do it. And then I started working towards that. And I think everything else is you have to want it, like I've poured my heart and energy into people who, they'll come to you with the same victim mindset and you'll give them the answers over and over and over again. And they never listen. They don't want to fix the problem. They like the attention from, everyone else of why they have those problems. So I think really it's just educating people in my generation. No one cares. Everyone on Facebook's that's saying, oh, we're praying for you. None of those people are praying, right? Maybe one or two, right? None of them are praying for you. None of them really care. They might care for 5 minutes and then they're back to scrolling. They're back to living their life, right? So I think social media has just put out this false image of everyone cares, everyone likes me, in real life, it's not like that, you know? Not that everyone wouldn't like you, but it's just fake. Social media is fake. Everyone, you can perceive or show a life that you don't live. You know, you have people who are struggling to pay their bills, but they'll post vacation pictures like they're living a life, you know? So it's just so fake nowadays. And that's why I really try not to be on social media, is because I want real people around me, you know, so like Arte people, you know, you get this community. I'll chat with people on social media that are Arte minded, you know, or have that mindset, you know, but I really think it's just education. I wish people would see the success and then believe in themselves that they could do it, because it just takes discipline, and then it takes, you know, skin in the game. You have to, it doesn't just happen overnight. You know, social media, again, it'll tell you, oh, you could be a Forex crypto trader and, you know, make $1 million. I used to believe it, you know, I did Forex, I did crypto, you know, and those things don't work out long term. You know, you have to get in there, put the sweat equity in, and then it takes time to manifest, right? So many people quit before that exponential curve, right? Because it's not, I think somebody was just talking about this. It's not linear. It's all exponential growth, right? You know, so you could be in business 5-10 years, right? And everything's just been kind of stagnant. You're putting in all the work, right? And then next year you're boom. You've had all the sweat equity. You've adapted, right? You know what to look for and how to fix the problems. So, you know, I think it's just that exponential curve, and everyone quits way too soon. And then they think, oh, that's not it for me. And they go back to living their miserable lives. You know, they hate their jobs, they hate their wife or husband, whatever. You know, so I think that's it. You know, don't quit. And they just need to believe in the end result.
Yeah, and they got to put in the work. I mean, I think another thing that social media does that's done nobody any favors is these influencers who are like multi-mega rich. They've literally achieved nothing in their lives. And people look at that like, oh, in order to, you know, get from here to here, I just got to have that one viral video, or I got to, you know, do some funny stuff and do some reels, and I'm going to be that person. And so it's almost created this like false path that it's, you know, 1 in a billion actually does that. And I really struggle with influencers. Like I will not forward any of their information. I'm like, you didn't do the work, damn it. I am not going to support you. Like we got to do the work to get there and show what it means to do real work and put in the time and being patient with the process. And like you said, not giving up before you get that, not even end result, just results. And that takes consistency and time.
Right. Progress. It's progress over perfection, you know, like if you see progress, you're on the right path. Right. But because it's not perfect, because they don't have 100,000 or $1 million in their bank account, they think everything's going wrong, you know? So yeah, I think that's right. And then even being an influencer or a content creator, right? It's not that, you know, there are the people who get viral and lucky, whatever, but there are actual people out there who have spent 15-20 years putting out content, putting out information, right? And then they see some success. They might hit 1 million subscribers, right? And everyone's like, they just see the last month or two of videos and they're like, man, who's this guy? Like, he doesn't know anything. But really, they've been working on their craft for 20 years, right? And that is what is not shown on social media, right? Is the authenticity. It's the real of life. It's reality, right? It takes a long time of discipline and productive action to get your end result. And everyone just loves seeing the end result. And then they try to make excuses for how that person got it, you know? You know, and I think if people shared their journey more, we would have a lot more winners, a lot of people who want to win. But everyone just acts like it's this overnight success, you know, or you could be rich in a year, you could be a millionaire in a year. Now you can be, but the statistics on that are slim to none, right? So if you know, it's people overestimate what they could do in a year and underestimate what they could do in 10 years, right? Anyone could be a millionaire in 10 years, right? But everyone wants it in one, right? So, you know, they try to put all this work in, get burnt out because they don't see $1 million. And then that's it, you know, there's their dreams. So.
You're right. I mean, and every successful person I know says that. Like everybody thinks I'm an overnight millionaire, but I've been working this shit for 20 years. Like this did not happen overnight. I just happened to finally get recognized for it overnight.
Exactly. The recognition, right?
Yeah.
You get recognized for all this success, and people don't see what you've had to put in. They don't see the sacrifices, A lot
Yeah.
of business owners, it's blood, sweat, and tears,
Yes.
It's 80 to 100 hours working, It's, relationships lost, you lose your faith and your belief in yourself. You go through so much struggle as a business owner, and as soon as you hit success, people just think it came to you easy. And so I think it's an obligation as business owners, people who want to see other people win. We have to share our journey, share where we messed up, how we came over or, adapted and
Mhm.
overcame it, and then made something of it. Everyone loves to use a story for an excuse as to why they couldn't be something. And we all have a story. And I promise you, someone's is harder than yours.
Yeah.
So make something of it, make it a success story. Why make it a sob story when it could be a success story and you could tell millions of people, okay, I went through this, but that shit didn't matter. I'm still here, right? I made this impact. I've changed thousands of lives. Why? I feel like that right side is way better than that left side. So I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I think that's just sort of a problem with a lot of the methodologies, and especially what we're dealing with today with the labels, is everybody just wants to put you in a box and here's where you are and here's where you'll always be. And they don't see that, okay, maybe I used to be that way, kind of like addiction. Maybe that was my past, but that isn't who defines me today. I haven't used in 10 years. Why do I got to call myself an addict? That's like losing, 100 pounds and you're looking your best and you're still calling yourself fat. Like, why do we got to like leave ourselves stuck in the past, like you said, in these stories that prevent us from moving forward and leaving that behind us and just getting better?
I love what you said. I completely forgot. Something else that changed my life was a client of mine, mind you. I haven't always been this quality driven, making
Mm.
sure I give the best customer experience. So going into my second year of business, one of my clients sat down with me, we had coffee, and he said, one of the most important things he said, and I've ever been told in my life, was never let somebody put you in a box, right?
Mm.
Society, your parents, your grandparents, your friends, whoever, they will try to limit your abilities, right? Based off of what they believe they can do or couldn't do, right? And I think that really changed my life. And honestly, it's like one of the only things I remember from the conversation, because that's how impactful it has been, is anytime someone self-projects their limiting beliefs on me, I
Yeah.
should sit back and I'm like, I recognize that now, right? You recognize who was too weak to take that leap of faith or too weak to stay in the game too long. And I don't limit myself. And I made it one of my core values. Never limit yourself. You are capable of so much. And I think we all underestimate the impact and inspiration we can have for others around us. Because you're best suited to help the person you used to be.
Mhm.
So if you become the best through 75 hard, or, through running a business and being disciplined and helping people, you're a beam of light. Everyone will, like, you will shine above everyone else, and people will be drawn to you, right? And if they see you working on yourself, maybe they'll believe they can work on themselves too.
Oh, I love that. Well, and exactly, why I do Elevate, because people see me as, well, you're not just some like rich CEO that bought this company and owned by big pharma. You actually overcame addiction, grew up poor, you did this, you built your life, you did this, you built your team just like you. And like you said, leading from the front, setting the example, being that person that is the same as the people that I'm trying to help. So I love that you said that. Not that, I'm looking for the validation, but it's exactly how I built my business, is being that person and then helping the people that were just like me.
See, and that's one of my struggles, is because I'm so young, right?
Yeah.
Anytime I try to preach that success to somebody, and that everyone around me is double my age at least.
Yeah.
um, they're like, what the hell does this 20-year-old kid know?
Yeah.
And it's and then I get around people in the Arte community, or these highly successful people, and the same shit they tell me, I've been telling people around me. I'm like, I know I've been right this entire time. But
Exactly.
but it's other people's ego, and they're not holding themselves accountable to say, okay, maybe this 20-year-old kid does know something, you know.
Yeah.
I probably put in more in my personal development than some of the people I know in my life have done in the past 20 years, you know, and I've done it in the past 2. And they don't have that humility to say, okay, maybe he does know a little something, something, you know. And, I don't think you have to be successful, you know, because it's all relative, but I'm not financially successful, but I believe I will be, you
Yeah.
know. So I make sure I understand the concepts of discipline and perseverance, mental toughness, and I practice them, you know, I implement them. So I know they work, you know. I know 75 hard works. Like, I've done it twice, right? I've done the hard things. Now, I haven't done all of the hard things. That's why I learned to shut the hell up when somebody who has been through the hard things says something. But I know what it's like to go through some hard things. So, I think you can always learn something from somebody. I think if you shut your ears to just anybody, right? Might be a homeless person on the street, right? You can sit down and have a conversation, and that man might be so in touch with his faith that it just trickles down onto you like, holy, like I need to be better, right? You can learn something from somebody if you just let down your wall and talk to them for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you know. I think that's another problem with society is,
Yeah.
social media has taken over. Everyone's just on their phones or looking for the next like, the next dopamine hit, right?
Yeah.
Put down your phone and talk to the people around you in real life, you know. That human connection, like, it's something different. I just love talking to people. I love hearing people's stories, because everyone comes from a different background, you know. It's interesting to hear what other people have to say, and you never know what you can take away from that person.
Yeah, you're right. And it drives me crazy. Even, these masterminds we go to, and I just see people on their phones the whole time. I'm like, dude, you're missing out. Like, listen, I run a 24/7 life and death business, and I'm willing to put my phone away, trust my group, but you're missing out. Why are you even here if you're not going to like be here and connect with people and take advantage of what's right in front of you? It drives me nuts.
Being present. I think my screen time when we were in Kremlin was like 2 hours a day. Like,
Yeah.
it was as minimal as possible. And it was the shortest it's probably ever been, ever, you know.
Yeah.
Because, I wanted to learn, I wanted to grow. And, it's willpower. I think you'll do anything you put your mind to, if you really want it.
Yeah. Well, and I think, people are susceptible to those distractions because they're afraid to be all in or fully present, or a lot of people have even just lost that ability. Like, they don't know how to be present because they're so controlled by their phones, by social media, by everything else, that they don't know how to just sort of comfortably be in situations anymore.
That is true. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So my thought with you, and we had this conversation, like, where you're going to make an amazing impact, and just so you know, it's my goal to someday help you fund that and be a co-owner with you. Is your big dream? Please tell us about that, because I think those people are going to be the people that listen to you, not the ones that are like, okay, kid.
Yeah. So my big dream, aside from my lawn care and landscape company, is to provide community rec centers in inner cities for kids. So the same thing we were talking about earlier is success needs to be seen, So in Chicago, Detroit, you have all this crime by kids, right? Kids don't have the privilege of graduating high school, let alone going to high school safely. And I think that's because of the environment and culture that they've been indoctrinated to learn is, you got to go sell drugs to provide for your family. You got to go kill this guy because he lives, 3 streets down. It's ridiculous that we are at that point in society. So my community rec centers, I want them to be a safe haven. I want them to be educational. You walk in and there's a game room to the right, you got some TVs and you guys could watch sports to the left. You go down, you got a gym, a studio for, if they're in Chicago, Detroit, how many kids don't have that talent, but have never been given that opportunity? I was given an opportunity. That's why I'm here, right? Some kids just need that one opportunity. So, you know, you got a studio, maybe a podcast room, you know, some kids can dive in and talk about their lives, a basketball, you know, a gym, you know, like a basketball court, whatever. I want it to be a place where they could come, a classroom. That's most important. I almost forgot that one.
Yeah.
A classroom, because this isn't just some, oh, come hang out and you go back to life, you know, that you were living, selling drugs and killing neighbors. No, that's not what I want in these rec centers. I want kids to come in and come out men and women. You know, I want them to come in and learn about financial education, learn about relationships, you know, faith in God, you know, and if you don't believe in that, just faith in yourself, you know, belief in yourself that you can do anything, not to limit yourself. I want it to be somewhere where they come and, you know, the kids that live 3 blocks away, they're now friends, right? And I also want, you know, I want a Lambo parked in the front window, you know, or, you know, a nice
Yeah.
car to where they've never seen it or they've never believed it, right? So now that they get to see it every day by going there, and then we have the financial courses and then, you know, the education of hard work and discipline to show them, all right, look, I got here, right? I started when I was young. I know you can do it, and we'll give you all the tools to do so. You know, a place where you have connections with employment centers across the town, right? So kids who need a job, you got to get them out of something. You can't just say, all right, don't sell drugs. They still got to provide for their family, right? All right, we got jobs, you know, we're connected with dozens of, you know, families and small businesses around who want to give young people a chance. So, you know, I guess you could call it like a rehab center, you know, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
yeah, because you gotta get them out of the indoctrination that they've had their entire lives from their culture and environment, and then social media and media propagating them to just keep doing it. You know, we're always shown violence on television and TV and the news, right? We never get to see the positive kindness of what we really can do, what humans do. There's so much kindness on what you do, you know, what you do is so impactful, and it changes lives, right? But there's not a new story on what you're doing, right? There's a new story on this cop who killed this person, or, you know, these people who died because, well, you know, it's always something negative, right?
Yeah.
There's just not enough positivity in the world. So you know, I think if there's enough of these community rec centers in inner cities, right? And you get them to change their entire lives while they're still young, they'll become productive members of society. They'll be something with their lives. You know, and I think that's the real change, is education to the people who need it most, you know, but they can't afford it, you know. All they know is survival. They have to kill to survive, they have to sell drugs to survive. You know, if you take all that pressure off of them, right, what are they capable of doing? And, you know, they're just not given that chance, or they can't get that chance, you know, because they have to survive. So they're not worried about education, you know,
Right.
or finances, like whatever it is. They're just trying to, you know, feed their family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think the one thing I think, you know, I told you this too, that I think would be most important is also mentors. You know, they need people like you working with them one-on-one, and then they see the success and you're a real person. It's not some like video of some fake person. It's like the real person. And then when they become successful, they come back and mentor even remotely, you know, one or two guys, and it sort of exponentially creates this level of success where they see success as a real person and they're inspired by that, and then they become that person, and then they inspire the next one. And I think that's how you make this successful, because then they're like, wait, you're like a real person, and you're like me, and you started out like me. Because that's kind of like how my rehab is, right? Like, we are being former addicts or helping addicts, and then in turn they're like, wait, I want to help people that were like me too. And so then it creates this amazing reciprocal effect that creates a bigger impact for sure.
yes, you need people that look like you and have been through what you've been through to actually to believe it, you know, to put it, you know, like I've always heard of success, right? But I never saw it in somebody that was raised the same way I was raised, or, you know, whether you want to say it's the same skin color. A lot of Black people, right? They can't look at a white person and be like, oh, I can be that. There's, you know, racial inequality and systemic racism, whatever it is, right? But if they see a Black man or a Black woman who's successful, who is, you know, a top Fortune 500 company executive, right? Now what? You can't, and you know, people always try to look for excuses, but it's one less excuse for them to make. And then you throw in the fact, oh, well, actually, I came into this community rec center when I was 18, right? I was
Yeah.
selling drugs. I didn't have a dad. My mom was strung out on heroin, whatever it was. And I became this person. And you know, you do that, and it's like, holy shit. Now what? You cannot deny the facts, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's why I think, you know, and we talked about you and how you've built such a loyal like employment, like your employees, right? It's really family, right? But
Yeah.
you guys are willing to ride and die together, right? That only happens because you bettered yourself. Everything you went through in your life, you took ownership and you became a new person because of that. And I think that's why your leadership is fucking great. You know, it's so impactful because you put that work and energy in. So it's undeniable. You can't no one can come up with an excuse of why they can't be like you know. So
Yeah. Well, and it's also continuing to do the work. It's continuing to show up. It's continuing to try to improve and self-improve. And now I'm gonna, do 75 hard again, but this time I'm not gonna, I'm only gonna eat once a day or whatever it is. We just keep improving and showing that we're still willing to change and we're never reached the top. And now I can just like coast. It's like, no, let's just keep going more and keep showing up and going harder and proving more to ourselves. Because I don't think, we necessarily have to prove things to others. But for me, it's a constant proving and improving on myself, because I'm a firm believer that, and the universe says this too, nothing ever stays the same. So you're either going up or you're going down. So why not consciously be going up so that the world isn't pushing you down because you're refusing to grow?
yep. And I think just a key little nugget there is,
Yeah.
I don't think life ever gets easier. I think we just get stronger, right?
Mm.
So a lot of people think, oh, once I have $1 million, life will be easy. Look, the more money you make, the more problems you got. I have more problems than I had 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
They don't get easier, right? You get more headaches, right? You're able to deal with them, right? And if you have that belief that everything's going to be okay, God will always protect you and guide you on the path, and you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and again, it's life. I think a lot of people think like, this sucks. It's not fair. I don't understand. It's like, yeah, life is not fair and it does suck. So what are you going to do? Roll over and curl up and die and be a victim? Or are you going to like keep pushing forward and at least, take charge of your life and not just be the effect of whatever is happening in your environment?
Amen. Amen.
Which is you. So how you're still on 75 hard? You're still going hard on that?
I am on phase 1. So this is not my third attempt. I've done 75 hard twice. Both times I went through, but this phase 1 is kicking my ass. It's a lot of hard work. So, it's teaching me more time management skills, but I also go at it with more intention, so, I think that's what it is. Like life, the challenge hasn't gotten easier, or it's gotten easier, right? To a sense, because I've gotten stronger, right? So you make it harder again. So like I'm never satisfied with just, oh, all right, I'm gonna go do this workout. No, how can I get the most out of the workout, right? How can I push myself how I've never pushed myself before? I think that's important to do on your self-development and personal growth journey. Is you need to always be challenging yourself to do the hard shit, right? Because if you've worked out for 5 years in a row every single day, I mean, it's not going to be much to you, but are you working out with the intent? Like, are you pushing yourself to muscle failure to where you can't walk out of the gym or you can't turn your steering wheel to leave the parking lot? Like, I think you can always go harder at what you do. So just never forget that.
Yeah. Do you seek out things to be harder? Because like for myself, I added a cold plunge. I add things to make things harder purposely.
I sometimes I will purposely wait for the rain to go do my outdoor workout.
Yes.
I love it. I guess honestly, the entire challenge, both times I've done 75 hard have been in the winter.
Yeah.
And I'm in Northeast Ohio. Like, it doesn't get rigid cold, but Christmas Eve, we got that bad, storm, and it was -40 wind chills, right? And I had 3 jackets on, 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of socks, went out with my boots, and I did my outdoor workout, right? And when I got back, I was excited. I was like, hell yeah, because no one else out there
Yep.
is doing that shit, right?
Hell
That's
yeah.
what fuels me, or it's part of it, is knowing that I love it to be hard so much that people probably think I'm crazy. But the same reason they think I'm crazy is the same reason I'll be successful, it's the same reason I'm different, so I love the hard challenges, especially when like I crave it, because sometimes you wake up, you're like, fuck, dude, there's a foot of snow outside, like, and
Yeah.
you don't want to do it. But then once you start doing it, you're like, hell yeah, man, like, I love this shit. So,
Oh yeah. Well, and there's such a beauty in that. I mean, I don't get snow back here, but we get a lot of rain and whatnot. And I absolutely love doing my outdoor walks in the forest because there's nobody else out there when it's raining. It's like it's only rain, but there's literally nobody out there. It's just me and my dogs. And you got to be like present because there's a lot of roots and rocks and water, and I could slide off a cliff. But I, just like you, I love it because you what you tell yourself is like nobody else is willing to do this, and I'm being uncommon, and I love that because I think for people like us, we don't want to be common. We don't want to be the same as everybody else because the power is in your individuality and being brave enough to do that. And these are good tests of that.
and I think it comes down to, never limiting yourself. Like, how can I have that as a core value? But I always wanted to be sunshine and rainbows when I want to go do my outdoor workout. It
Yeah.
doesn't work like that. You have to push yourself. And I love knowing that I could do harder things. Cold showers, holy hell. Those were, yeah, I've tried them beforehand, and I'd be
Yeah.
screaming the entire time, like, oh my God, I hate this.
Yeah.
And now I sit there in silence and I calm
Mm.
myself down and I take control of my mind, right? When you're able to go from, complete panic, I can't fucking take it, to you're sitting there calm breathing and your heart rate's at 50, 60 beats per minute, and you're just super calm and mellow, like, you've clearly won that game. You've won that challenge, right? So now how can you make it harder? It's, turning the temperature down again and turning it, like, making it
Yeah.
colder and colder and colder. If you're outside and you've been walking for, 20 days, now you start jogging, and then eventually you're running, and then you run a marathon. And you're like, all right, challenge. It's always accepted. There's always more you can do.
Oh yeah. For me, I throw on the weight vest because with my heart, I can't run, but I'm like, okay, well, how can I make it harder? Let's just start adding weight, adding weight. So I'm still walking, but man, I'm like how I carried Tom. I can carry a person. So
Look, that was great. That was great.
how much did he love that? That was so funny.
He bragged about it before you showed up for the workout. He was like, "Oh my God, Angie carried me on her back." Everyone was talking about it.
And
They're
even
like,
though he's a little guy, he was a solid 200 pounds. I was like, holy shit, dude, you weigh a lot.
"Hey, Tom's a big guy,
He is
okay?
all muscle, man. He is
Yeah,
all muscle.
yeah. You don't. I wouldn't be picking a fight with Tom.
No way. He was definitely all muscle. But again, that's where, when when you start off gradually, and for sometimes, and I think people miss the point on 75 hard. They think it's, too hard or it's too much. And I can't work out twice a day. And I'm like, just take a walk for 45 minutes and do yoga for 45 minutes. There's no claimer or disclaimer that says you have to go hard on every workout of every day. And then, like you said, then start ramping it up and start making it a little more challenging. And, that is the challenge. It's called 75 hard. You can make it as easy or as hard as you want, but it's fun to keep doing it and challenging yourself more because that's where we feel good. That's where the hormones get released. If we're just walking every day, it's not really going to do the same thing for us.
Yep. And I experienced that. When I talk about that, my first round in 75 hard, I was working full time, but I wasn't hitting the gym. I was doing at-home workouts. I wasn't outside running, I was outside walking.
Yeah.
And now my second time going around, and my diet was no fast food, no candy, no pop, which are very big to me. Don't get it twisted. That was very hard to do. But now, my second round that I just completed, I hit the gym almost every day. I might have took a day off. Like some days I took like Sundays off to just do extra cardio, but it was hitting the gym, actually doing weight training. I got on a diet, I downloaded the First Form app, we'll plug First Form in here, great ass company. And, I got an advisor and I started tracking my macros, and I still had no fast food, no candy, no pop, and so everything about it just got harder, actually the diet is probably the hardest part because I'm bulking, but, and so let's share the results. The first time I gained no muscle, I kind of actually lost some fat. I lost like 2 or 3 pounds. This time I gained 16 pounds,
Wow.
and most of it's muscle. Some days I got a little bit of fat on me, but but it's progress, and that's because I made it harder, right? So if I would have never made it harder, I wouldn't have seen that progress. So you gotta do the hard things, and do it with intent. Like, be intentional about what you do and how you go about your day and how you budget your time, who you spend it with. Like, you have to analyze your day and your time because you'll never get it back, so make the best of it.
Have you ever struggled with staying connected to toxic people? Is that a problem for you, or has it been a pretty easy transition?
Until I went on my personal growth journey, yes, because naturally I'm a very thoughtful and empathetic person, and I love helping everyone around me. So in high school, I actually was called the love doctor. I would help people in their relationships, and everyone come to me, oh hey, I have this girl situation. I give them the advice.
And would that just come naturally to you? You would just like
I
understand
don't
the
know.
situation?
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. Like, and I had been through, a couple toxic relationships, whatever. They just didn't work out. Young, when you're young and stupid, shit just happens. But
Yeah.
people would come to me and I'd be like, look, this is what you have to do. They would go and do it, come back and be like, Jay, you're the man. Yeah, you were right. And I'm like, I'm the love doctor,
Yeah.
But, a lot of it came from, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm not gonna lie.
Removing yourself from toxic people because you're such a love doctor.
I go off sometimes on tangents.
It's fine.
But because I was that loving person, I would pour all of my energy and heart into somebody. Like, so the people who actually had problems, not love problems, but they were going through this at home, or whether it be domestic violence or drug abuse, whatever, I would try to help those people out. And you get to a point where they just start draining you, right? They don't want to fix the problem. They just like that you'll sit there and talk to them about it, every day or every other day. So it wasn't until, really, I guess I was 18, 19, right before I started the business, where I took control and I said, look, like, I can't keep doing that for people, and it's not necessarily that you give up on people, because I want the best for everyone around me. Anyone who hates me or doesn't like me, I still want the best for you.
Yeah.
But I can't sacrifice my life for you if you don't want it, So I think now I'm better aware of it, and I will remove people from my life in an instant if I believe you're not like not benefiting me, but you're taking away from me, right? Because it's all give, like I'm a giver. So I like givers to be around me, right? Not that they have to give to me, but I want them to be giving somehow to other people. I can't have takers around me where all they want to do is suck the energy out of everybody and use everybody around them to better themselves. So
Or
I
not
think
even better themselves, just to
just
exist.
to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just people out there who are just greedy and they don't even know why they want it. They just want. So it definitely was a learning curve. You get taken advantage of enough times in life, and I think you'll learn to see the real in people real fast, or you lose that energy and time, and you end up depressed, or you end up suicidal because now you've given all this energy out and you have none left for yourself. So I think loving yourself, it's not this, fluff, like, unicorns and sunshine shit, like truly loving yourself, believing in yourself and your abilities. And you can love other people after that. I think a lot of people nowadays, a lot of the girls I dated or talked to, whatever it was, they didn't love themselves first, right? And you get in a relationship, if you haven't patched up all the holes in your shit, right, your ass is going to sink, and I think getting that point across of just loving yourself first and then loving other people, you'd save a lot of young men and young women from heartbreak if people understood that concept. But
for sure. I mean, and that just has so much to do with self-esteem and, how mean kids can be to each other. And then it creates, complexes as they're growing up, and then they want people to fix it for them. And then there goes the codependency. And yeah, it's definitely a thing. Huh?
Yeah, that rabbit hole right there of, oh my goodness, you're diving in on a whole new subject, because entitlement and just, it's something.
Yeah, well, it's just not healthy. And like you said, and it stems from not loving yourself. So, again, how can you be there for somebody else? And then I feel bad for even, parents, and, it's hard to be there for a child when you don't even know how to be there for yourself. And so you can see how it perpetuates. So, yeah. You got to do the work, and you got to take care of yourself. And again, I think this is where social media is challenging, because you see all the perfect bodies and the perfect people and all the perfect things. And if you're less than that, you're like, what am I doing wrong? And why am I less than? And why can't I be like that? And it's just such a false persona of what's really going on. And I think that's really difficult for people to be inundated with all the time. Like, I won't lie, I look at the Kardashians and I'm like, dude, what do they got that I don't? Like, what did they do to be in this status? And
like, I need that money.
Right? We're doing good things. We should be getting that money. We're literally saving lives. Like, they just got to make fun of each other and be mean and have fights and then make up, and now they're fucking multimillionaires. Like, what the hell?
Man, I tell you, I have never watched an episode, and I never will, because that I could not myself buy into that ever, of just like, there's no real impact that those people, not that they, like, just personally, because we don't know them personally or what they donate or whatever, but you look at that show, right?
Yeah.
Like, why do you watch that show? It doesn't benefit your life. It's just drama. It's just, people love to feed on the negativity. That it just comes back to, there's just so much negativity in life, like, why feed on that? Why make them richer to just claw at each other constantly? Like, it's not entertaining. At least not to me. Like, I wish people would invest an hour into watching that TV show or a Netflix movie or whatever, but you won't invest an hour into reading a book, or listening to a podcast. Listen to this podcast, listen to Andy's podcast,
or watch it. If you have to have that visual stimulation, watch the podcast.
It's do something with your time that will actually benefit you. There's nothing not saying that I don't watch Netflix or I don't watch TV. Like, we all have our ways of, coping or just relaxing. But when you're not investing anything into your future, if you're not winning, you're losing. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? So if you're not putting an hour into, a self-help book or whatever, you're dying, essentially, or an hour into your fitness, you are quite literally dying, because your health is declining by you not working out. So, I've never been entertained by reality TV or what, because it's not even reality,
right?
Like,
exactly. They call it reality TV, and it is the opposite of reality.
Now that I just said it out loud, you say it out loud and you're like, reality TV, that's not even reality. Like, you want to get reality. People can't pay their bills right now. That's reality, right? Why are you watching a show where these multimillionaires, they don't have to worry about your struggles, right? You have to worry about your struggles. No one's coming to help you. They're not going to donate to your GoFundMe of, I want to do that, whatever, right? It comes back to that entitlement. Everyone feels like someone needs someone else to come help them and pick up their slack, right? You have to pick up your own slack. So, and if you don't, you'll suffer with it. You'll walk that path alone. And, all of us business owners, we've learned to pick up that slack. And, I think it's an obligation that all of us business owners help other people not pick up their slack, learn to pick up their slack. Educate them to, have the same skills and abilities you do.
Oh yeah. And I've learned that lesson so many times. I mean, even the last few years, like I'll listen oh, I just need a partner. I need this. And I'm out searching. And then, then you have Andy's voice go through your head. And it's like, ain't nobody fucking coming to save you. You need to save yourself. And I'm like, damn it, Andy, I know that. Okay. I'm back in my business. I do what I got to do, because he's 100% right. I mean, sure, it'd be nice someday if somebody acknowledged you and they're like, oh my God, look at the amazing stuff you're going to do here. I want to invest in you. But the reality is that happening is few and far between. So you just got to keep doing the work and take care of you and your people, no matter what it takes.
And I think that one day may come for a lot of people like you live with that intention and belief to just help people. I believe one day someone will bless you with what you've always dreamt of, because it's more of a dream than like a goal, it's a dream that someone would rain down, that magical fairy dust, and all of your problems will be solved. But I feel like if you really are intent with it, you put it out in the universe and the universe will reciprocate, and whether it's small doses or one big dose, I feel like there are those people that get lucky with that recognition or fame or whatever you want to call it. But you've put in, the work to do so. Right. So when that day comes, you've put in 15, 20 years of your life to bettering people. Right. Somebody will still try to take that away from you, but you put that work in, so, you got to put the work in. There's nothing without that.
Yeah. Well, and I think the big overarching reason why you or I want, that to happen is so we can help more, so we can have a bigger impact, so we can help more people and hire more people and continue to create more good, not just go by the Lambos and all the bling and all that and just say, look, I made it. It's like, oh, I just want a bigger impact. So, I think that's our overarching goal. Like, no matter how big we make it, we're always just going to want to do more and help more.
Oh yeah. Amen to that.
I love that. Okay, good. So what book are we reading now? What are you reading?
Relentless by Tim Grover.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just finished The Dichotomy of Leadership, and that book was it was great. But Relentless, it's crazy, reading these stories of the great athletes, and what they go through, and it reminds me of I can do so much more. I love seeing stories about people who succeed and then the backstory, the backbone of how they succeeded. Kobe Bryant, like that man is, or Michael Jordan, like just both of them. It's just, you look at their mindset and their dedication to becoming the best them. And that's exactly the journey I want to be on. Right. Yeah. And you see what they've done. Right. Why can't I do that? Not my aspirations aren't in basketball, but the same principle applies wherever you are in life, you can
you're still a closer.
Right. So like, exactly, so I think the book is great. Yeah. Love Tim Grover stuff.
Yeah, it was funny. I was doing that book in a book club, and you could clearly see the different people in my book club. And of course, I forget what it is. It's the closer, it's the cooler, and there was.
Yeah, the cooler, closer, and then cleaner.
Cleaner's the top one, right? Yeah. So you could clearly see in the group who was what. And of course the coolers were like very anti-cleaner. And it was like, and I just sat and watched. It was so entertaining to see how it kind of, I don't want to say triggered people, but what it incited their viewpoints. They hated the book. They were like, this is stupid. And I'm like, clearly you're not
clearly. Right. Exactly. That's confidence, that comes from years of doing that work, right? You can't, like, I think we talked about this, like if you call me fat, why won't my feelings get hurt? Because I know I'm not fat. I believe that 100%, right? People don't believe themselves, and then they try to act, and then they will message you and tell you that, oh, well, you're being mean or offensive, Well, clearly you believe what I'm saying, or you wouldn't be messaging me, You know, I truly don't give a shit about anyone else's opinions. Maybe that's thanks to 75 hard. I'm pretty sure it is, but because you get the confidence, you know, you don't care about other people's excuses and you recognize it when they are. You are recognizing those coolers, right? Because cleaners they don't care to get in there and argue with people. You're not arguing back. It's pointless, right? Because you know where you stand. And a lot of people don't have that confidence and self-esteem to know where they stand and actually believe it. You know, everyone wants to believe they're a cleaner when they're a cooler. So
Right. Yeah. But then they hear the work and then they're like, oh, those people are crazy. And it's like, well, listen, if you want to be like truly successful in life, there is no work-life balance. Like you put in and you have people support you, the amount of time and effort it takes to get there. It's not going to happen on a 40-hour work week or a, part-time job, just some of the time. Like you cannot have balance. And I hate to say that because we actually teach the wheel of life and balance in my program, which is fine for sobriety and being okay in life. But if you truly want to be super successful, there is no balance.
Yep. And I've had this talk with my fiance because I've told her, and I think that there needs to be a balance to a certain extent, because you look at someone like Kobe, and Kobe, he had no work-life balance. It was all work, right? Primarily. And he dedicated, half of his life to being the best of all time. And then he dies right when he's going to retire and, live his life. Right. So it's not necessarily that you don't need a work-life balance. There's a dichotomy to it, but a lot of people think, oh, well, I worked 40 hours. So, that's it, no, that's no, and there's certain times like, so I've talked with her and I'm like, look, like I have to put in, 5 to 10 years of work, maybe 15, right? If you want to live the life that I know we can live for our children and we could travel and we don't have to worry about anything, it's going to take that amount of time to do that. Right.
Yeah.
But in there, right, don't forget the process and the progress. Like, if you hit $1 million, right, go celebrate, get a cake, go on the vacations. It doesn't mean just be so, and like, I guess, what is it, involved or obsessed with it. Because it leads to resentment, like no one's gonna look at you like, oh, you work 100 hours a week. Yeah, you're awesome. Like
Right.
if you're not giving any energy to your spouse or your kids or,
Or
you're not
yourself, your own health.
exactly,
Yeah.
it gets unhealthy. So there's always a balance and a dichotomy to anything. But a
Yeah.
lot of people think that it's, oh, well, I need more time at home. And then when they get home, what do? They're on social media.
Yeah. They're on their phone the whole time.
They're watching Netflix. You're not even spending quality time. Go outside. If you're going outside and going on a walk with your spouse and you need that work-life balance, and only work 40 hours a week, but you actually make a productive life balance out of it, hey, hats off to you. Like that's great, but a lot of people say work-life balance so they can just relax and be comfortable, and clearly you're not going to be a cleaner or you're not going to be anyone successful if you don't understand that concept.
Yeah, I love that. And so is she's fully supportive of you? Is she doing her own path or she works for you?
Yeah, no, she's doing her own path, and I think I learned that lesson the hard way after my first relationship, was having independency and then coming together as a team,
Mm.
so like I have my path, she has her path, and we both support each other, but I will never take away from what she wants to do in life and she'll never take away from what I want to do in life. But we're still a team. So, I think that's one of the most important balances to me, is no matter where life takes me, I always want to make sure she's taken care of,
Mm.
so, I think that's a good lesson to learn, or to, if you want to take a nugget out for relationships, that's a pretty good one, is you never want to be too dependent on someone else, or look to someone else. It's that entitlement, like, oh, well, I'm with this woman and, she could take care of me and, provide me this job and this house, and you have to go get stuff for your own. And that's where I'm at. That's where she's at. That's why we get along, because she wants her own shit. I want my own shit. And I love that. I think that's attractive, is someone who wants to work towards their goals. She's more hardworking than me. Like at what she does, I told her if she ran a business, she would kill it, because she has her goals and she will do whatever it takes to get to her goals. And, I sometimes she's better at it than me. And that's what I love, because it's that challenge. It excites me that someone A is like that and I get to be with someone like that. But B, then I want to go harder. She motivates me and then I motivate her.
Yeah.
And that's where you depend on each other, because sometimes it's, 100-0 or 90-10 or whatever, and someone else has to pick up that slack. That's where the team aspect comes in.
I love that. So you're maybe just a little bit competitive.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. I am I probably would say I'm too competitive. Like you get me in a game. I've been in games with her and she'll beat me and I'll be like, don't talk to me. I need a few minutes, like it's not always healthy being too competitive, but I definitely do not like to lose.
Yeah.
And I like to win too. So it doesn't go too well. I try not to get myself in competitions with family.
Yeah, but sometimes that's kind of fun. I know I struggled with that with my kids. I'm like, do I let them win because I'm clearly better than them? And I'm like, no, no
Yeah.
mercy. I will not let them then. They are gonna earn it. And sure enough, they earned it and passed me. And I was like, damn it.
Yep. You got that time when you could, and now it's
Oh
gone.
yeah. Oh yeah. And they love rubbing it in my face. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm not good at Mario Kart. You're real good at it. When I was growing up, the controller was like a joystick and it was super easy. And you guys have all these buttons now, I'll come up with all kinds of excuses.
Excuses.
That's why they beat my ass, but it is what it is. Awesome. All right. Well, do you have any amazing final words or things you would love to share with our audience? Words of wisdom that you've picked up, because you are so abundant in good information. I love it.
I think I'll just hit on, a couple of the same topics we've been hitting on. Is just never limit yourself. Always believe in your ability to change people, to change and create an impact. We're all meant to be more here in life. I think we all have a purpose. And my purpose is to help people and help change life and, make that impact. So if you want to do that, start doing the hard work, start getting after it and fall in love with the process, and then know what your end result is. And just live with intent. I don't want to go through life not enjoying the moments, or, not being present, or not giving myself the full dedication that I should have to my faith, to my health and fitness, whatever aspect it may be. Live with intent, do what's right, like someone's always watching you. And I don't think you'll have to worry about anything.
Nice. What would you say to somebody, because the world's getting a little crazy again, with different things happening in the banking systems and weathers, and just shit seems like a little off right now. What would you say to somebody who's very concerned and worried about that? Because it seems like there's this like panicky vibration occurring in the world right now. So what would you say for somebody who's like really concerned about this kind of stuff?
I would say you have a right to be concerned depending on where you look at it. For me, like it comes back to that confidence. So like my business, I'm confident that my business will be perfectly fine no matter what the economy looks like. I've put in the work. I will put in the work. I know what I need to do if this happens or that happens. So business wise, I think it's fine. Personally, just the entire world, political environment. It's so many people, once again, they underestimate what they can do. Get out there, be a voice of, reason, and talk to people and communicate. It's all social media. Get out there and shake someone's hand and have a civil discussion. Everyone loves to be these keyboard warriors. Get out there, like it's not real. I think anyone that's worried about it, they just need to work on themselves, have that self-belief. And I think like I live with intent, and I have faith that God will always give me an opportunity no matter where the struggle is,
Yeah.
And, you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure, you know, so there's always some good in all of this bad, you know, and I try to look towards that good. You know, I live a pretty peaceful life because that's
Mhm.
all I'm focused on. I'm focused on the good. And if you're focused on the good, you'll see it. You know, if you're focused on the opportunity, you'll see it. If you're focused on the struggle, you'll probably struggle. So I think it's just more about changing your mindset, look for the, you know, glass half full, not half empty kind of mindset, and go run with that.
Yeah, and I would definitely just add to that, turn off the TV. Like, whatever they're feeding your brain is not helping you. And like people will say to me, like, oh, did you hear about this? And this is happening. I'm like, no, because I don't listen to it and I don't watch it. And by the way, I don't believe any of it. So,
Yeah, right.
you watch what you feed your brain, because if you're feeling a certain way about things, it's possible that and maybe you're not even hearing it from the TV. You're just hearing it from everybody else. And like for me, my big thing is like, just agree to disagree, even with what's happening in society. Like, yeah, that sucks, but that's not going to happen to me. Like, just not going to total succumb over what's happening, which is only going to perpetuate it, and just disagree with all of it.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, well, you have been an amazing conversation. I loved having you on the show, and I definitely think you need to have your own show. So
Yeah,
when you're ready for that, I am here for you and help you do that, because I think you'd be a phenomenal host, and you would provide a ton of value to people out there for sure.
thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, let's stay in touch. And then when I get that big investor, we're going to get your community center, and you're going to go make huge impact. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
And look, it's so funny when you said that because my dream was to help you one day with your,
Oh,
so I love that that's how you were thinking, because that's how I was thinking. But
that's
yeah,
right. Well, I think
we'll
we'll have
both
a very
come to-
symbiotic relationship. We're
exactly.
going to make it happen.
Yes, man. All right, thank
Awesome.
you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.